Okay, everyone, welcome to the Monday live show. Listen, it's been a hell of a weekend for most of us. We're on a new platform. I don't know if we're going to see the comments or not. If you can hear me, looks like we got viewers. So it looks like I was going to say if you could hear me, holler. But for reasons I won't go into, fuck StreamYard. So we're using a new platform today. And we've got an awful lot to talk about. And I can tell you why I'm late and all the stuff I have going on. But last time, Dave was not interested in my little anecdotes. And so you've lost privileges on finding out, Dave. After you're gone, because we only have you for a few minutes, we're going to talk about my hilarious weekend. But first,
for those of you paying attention to the beginning, you can send me thank you letters. That's totally cool.
My feelings would be so... My feelings would be so hurt. Yeah, you guys are way too big. Let me see what this looks like on YouTube. Hang on. I kind of like that we're in eyebrow land, but I also kind of don't. Let's see what we look like here. Because I can't tell. What does it look like? Again, I can't even tell on... Oh, God damn it.
Dave, you styled those just for this, didn't you?
I know, eh? Get the caterpillars ready. Oh, there we go. Now we're dropping phones.
Yeah, this is not a great look for you guys.
You can't see my bun. My famous bun.
So it's looking good on YouTube. It's looking
Can't you just slide back a little bit, Amber?
I'm back, but now I feel like I'm like 5 yards away from you guys.
All right. Well, listen. Go ahead and leave comments, and I'll figure out a way to read them. But
Nick is already calling us unprofessional, so we're in big trouble.
Who is?
Nick Riker.
Oh, is there comments already appearing?
I saw one. Yeah. No, he's been waiting. Yeah, we've been taking a while.
Should we try Christmas font? We're never going to get through this, guys. I should have played with this a lot more beforehand. Dave, welcome to the show. This is the live show. My three guests were all in Ocala this weekend. Dave is still there. I'm wearing a DEKA shirt just to be in harmony. So let's start with Dave. How are you feeling? You've had less than 24 hours to reflect. How are you feeling as the first weekend that DEKA had a head judge, or whatever it is we're calling you? How are you feeling?
Well, I guess technically it was the second weekend, because I mean I did go for the last one. It was almost like a pilot run.
The first world champs that we've had a head judge. How about that?
It was a lot. Well, okay. So how am I feeling? I feel good. I'm tired. I'm very tired. I did end up dropping out of my race on Sunday just because, but not dropping out. I didn't do it. Right. So it's not like I started and then quit. I didn't go in. To be honest, my legs from just running around for both days and all morning that morning, it just wasn't. I didn't have it. I did not have it to compete. It would have been a bad idea. So physically, I was a little tired.
You did get on the podium for another event, though.
Yeah. I came. Juan, my partner, Juan, and I Juan managed to carry me to a third place podium in the fit. And yeah, I was very excited about that. It was awesome. That's my first world championship podium.
Congratulations.
My last rep was probably a little sketchy. I probably should have got no rep there, but whatever. It is what it is. I saw the video. I'm like, yeah, that one was sus, but whatever. It was good. As far as how the performance of the event went with the judging, with all that stuff, I'm probably not one to say. It's for, I've been judging people all weekend. It's for the rest of the people to judge me now.
Okay.
By the way, congrats to you, Nick. That was an awesome run, buddy.
Nick Riker?
Yeah.
All right. Congrats, Nick. Yeah. Everybody who comments, I can't see it unless I go back into this other screen. So I'll do the hard work. It'll be very difficult for me, but I'll do it. Well, I want to get right to the controversy. Because that was the biggest thing that happened on Friday was the men's. I don't like calling them teams. I was just talking to Angel, and he's fine with either pairs or doubles, and I think that's what I'm going to go with. Teams is like a team, like 3 or 4 people.
I like relay.
Okay, the DEKA relay.
That's what I like. I like relay because Yeah, it's a handoff on a baton, like a relay.
But what if they do end up adding, like you could do with 4 people, like they do at High Rocks? What if they end up doing that?
Oh, then you would have to call it the 4-person relay.
Fuck you, Dave. So
I think people can be a team. I think it works. It's a team effort. You're trying to decide how to solve the problem.
I feel like I like doubles. And then like Deadly doesn't call it solos and doubles. And to me, that just makes more sense. Or pairs. Pairs isn't horrible. What do you think, Amber? Pairs?
I always just say teams, but pairs. I like pairs because then if they add like a 4-person thing, then differentiate it.
Oh, so Dave.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you the conversation. I'm gonna recap the conversation I had with Angel, and then let you go. But I think this is really important. So first of all, go watch it. It's about a 20-minute chat, maybe less. I meant to put it up before this, but I didn't have time. But here's where I'm gonna give you my version of where I was, and just I think this will all help, and then we'll let you speak as the man who made the call. Amber sends me the video. And it's like, well, to me, it's pretty obvious. The guys that cross first won. You always go with gun time in an elite field. Chip time is for age group when you have all these different fields. But everybody who leaves the start line at about the same time, it doesn't matter. You got to cross the line first, period. To me, that was the conversation. But one thing I did was I changed the time on the results because I thought it, quote unquote, made sense. I'm like, well, it's just going to confuse people if I put the other time, and I made an assumption they're probably going to change it anyway. So Angel messages me and says, you have it wrong. And I was like, I really don't. Like, this is what he's like, I know. And I agree. Dave made the right. I don't agree with Dave's call, but I trust Dave to make the call. So the call stands, but you can't manipulate the results. And I was like, you're right. So I changed it. And what he says, and again, I think go listen to the whole conversation. Definitely listen to it, Dave.
Yeah. Wait. And just, is the conversation up, posted yet?
No, it just happened. It just happened.
Oh, what the hell am I supposed to listen to it?
Well, at some point in the future, go listen to it.
All right.
Shortly after I get off this call. And what I said to him was, thank you for thank you for trusting Dave to make the right call, because we know Spartan has this horrible history, and Yancey hired you to do a job and then trusted you to do the job. And Angel, technically above you in the chain of command, ahead of all of Spartan of Spain, said, I don't agree with this, but even though it's my countrymen, I am not going to step in and change it. So let's all give Angel props for that. To me, that was like the best thing that could have happened. And his argument is that the start line's too small and it's not fair because of that, and we should fix it moving forward. But if it was his decision, he would have given it to the fastest time, but he still respected your decision. Now let's get to your decision, Dave, and kind of where you got to.
Okay, so first off, what Angel said to you is exactly what happened. And as a respect for Angel, I don't know if there's anybody else in the world doing more for DEKA than he is. He is absolutely killing it, and he is he's one of the most classy and respectful individuals I've met. So Angel was awesome. And also he was very helpful. And the decision was not easy. I mean, because what he says is true. The logistics of it, the gate is smaller, all these things, everything and this is why it was such a long conversation, because all the points he made are very, very accurate. And there was many people talking about this, and it was a long conversation because I wanted to have all the information I could to make the decision I had to make. I very easily just could have in like 2 seconds go, yep, there it is, it's done. But I don't think that was what the situation warranted, and that's not the consideration that situation warranted. It was very important to a lot of people, and it deserved us taking the time, even if it was an inconvenience, and maybe piss some people off for a little while. So anyway, the bare bones of it and the end of the decision ended up in the rule book. It states, and I may be off for verbatim, so I may have a few words wrong here and there, but it states in the event of a photo finish, Spartan / DEKA approved video may be used to determine the winner via who crossed the line first. In these situations, chip timing may be overturned. And in that situation, I believe, was a situation where it's warranted to overturn the chip timing because I believe the first people who crossed the line should be the winners. Now, Angel's point about should the starting gate be bigger and things like that, I mean, that is a great point, and quite frankly, I don't disagree with him. So, yeah, but that was not the situation we had on that day. What we had on that day was that race, how to improve it in the future is how do we improve it in the future. So that was the basis of my decision in the end, was follow the rule book.
What was, when you were discussing it, how much of it was like, was it you and Angel and Yancey, or was it like, did you like talk to the athletes separately? Because I'm sure Megita had a lot to say. I'm sure, you know, Alphonse had a lot to say. Like, how did you sort of handle it?
I didn't really talk to the athletes until after we had decided.
Okay, good. Even better.
Yeah, and to your effect, because I've had other people say this, especially Megita. Megita was gone. He wasn't even in the area when we were discussing it.
Okay, good. Good to hear.
So yeah, but it wasn't just. I mean, we had like Mark Jones. We had Preston. We had the entire staff wanted their input on the situation. I was happy to have it because I want to hear people's opinions. That's the way I am, right? I'm not closed off. If you have something to say to me, you have something you want me to know, you have your opinion, bring it. I don't, I'm not going to get offended, and I want all the information possible. So yeah, there was a lot of people involved in the discussion, but in the end, it's my call.
So did Yancey say he's going to look into widening the start line for teams?
I don't know. I mean, we did not discuss that at that moment. We did not discuss that. I think at the moment it was get through it, and then at that point get the podiums done, then reset the course for the next day. I mean, improvements for the following year will come like now, this week, and stuff like that.
Did you see a overabundance of jockeying for position the rest of the weekend based on that?
Oh yeah. Based on that, like into the front of the corral? Not as much as you'd think, probably, yeah. I mean, you could think it did turn into a bit of a, her elbows out and get right to the front. I think a lot of the races, and I mean, I don't want guys and girls fighting for the front line to get like that, but I think a lot of the races, it was a situation where most of them, there was like the people who knew they were going to be fighting for the front worked their way to the front. And then the people who knew I'm not going out like that were happy to step back 1 second. Right? Like, and that really is the difference between the front of the crowd and the back of the crowd is 1 second. So I did see some, but I didn't see anything that got out of hand. Perhaps other people did. I don't know.
Well, so Brendan says for the teams can start with one person each, and then 10 or 25 meters down the track, the second person can jump in.
It's interesting. I would like to see that.
I did. So, like, in the mile, it was a super, super tight start gate, too. So what Brian Neely and I did, because we knew we had to get out in front if we were going to contend, and nobody saw us as a threat. So me being the slower one, and then he came in behind me. Just because it was so tight. So he just got up. So you can catch that 1 second that you're out of the gate behind that front row team very easily on that first run, especially on a fit where you have more time. So that's where I do think they've made the right call, because that 1 second out of the start gate is not the differentiator in a fit, in my opinion. Like if Neely can get out from behind me and get to the front of the pack that easily in a mile, you can do it in a fit too.
What do you think, Cheryl?
I'm just remembering Yancey wanting a NASCAR feel, and this gives it a NASCAR feel. And I think people handle it just fine. Yeah, I think people handle it just fine. I had some friends The guys who got 5th in mile teams in elite, Parker Gatewood, Dakota Shackleton, they just pulled right up behind Bubbles in that start gate. They didn't care. I mean, they were all just in. So people know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, in any race, 5K, marathon, Spartan race, high rocks, there's always people that should be in the front. And then there's a few people who don't belong to be there, but their ego is so big that they want to be either in the front of the pictures or they actually think they can keep up with Meg or Hunter or whoever. And I would say the same goes for these races. With doubles, I'm calling it doubles. With doubles, I do think, why not just stick the first person in the either halfway up the track or just in zone 1 even. So that's just how it goes. One person runs the first lap. I don't think that's a problem.
I mean, they're all creative solutions, right? I mean, the other one is, hey, we line people up in the front in the start gate, partners one behind each other. Because right now that's not really necessary. There's a ton of different ways to do it. What has to happen is DEKA has to decide, is this an issue? And if so, then we get to how to address it. So right now, DEKA has to decide, is the starting corral an issue or not? I believe they think it is an issue and that they're coming up with ideas. So all of these ideas are really valid. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of having someone start in the first zone. And this is coming from me, who would be a person who would like to wait in that first zone to save myself having to do that initial run, right? So I'm not really on board with that. I want everybody to come out of the gate together as it was designed and finish together as it was designed. Now, could it be wider? Could it be positioning? Yeah.
Was there any?
Sorry, Cheryl, I didn't hear.
Oh, I just said just widen it 6 feet. It's not hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Was there any heat, Dave, where all 15 teams were in the start corral?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would have been tight.
You mean like there's usually 12 or 14 or somebody didn't show up, or is that what you mean, Amber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People like me, they bail out on their heat.
Yeah, I don't think I was in a heat where there was all like 30 people essentially.
Yeah, there were times where there were all 30 in the wave. Yeah.
And they survived.
What else?
Oh yeah.
What else? What's that?
I said they survived, obviously.
Dave, what else, I guess, are you taking away? Again, I know you can't be with us this whole time, so just what else are you taking away from this weekend? It was, I mean, your thing says very thankful, so I'm guessing it's something to do with that.
Well, thankful I survived. No, I'm really thankful for the people, man. Like, not okay. First off, thankful for the people who helped, because quite frankly, I've gotten a lot of kudos this weekend. I've got a lot of nice messages, a lot of in-person messages while I was there, a lot of support, and I'm very, very thankful for that. And a lot of people probably giving me more solo credit than I deserve, because I had to lean on a lot of people for help. Like my wife was a superstar out there. Mark Jones, Nelson, Robin, Yancey, names I'm not forgetting. I mean, guys from Australia, individual judges who stepped up and did what they could. So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thankful is everybody dug in to try to make me look good. And that was, I mean, even I even leaned on Zach and Amber sometimes. Like I leaned on Cheryl, like everybody who I could get help from, because my prime concern was making it as good as possible, no matter what means that took. So that's why I'm thankful. Now,
welcome, Shiz. I don't know how to put comments on the screen for this platform yet. Shiz says, "What's up, guys?" Was Shiz there? Were you there, Shiz?
I don't think so. I don't think I saw him.
Well, I have something to say about Dave. I think it really, the feel for us was that Yancey was the CEO this weekend and Dave was the COO, and he was just the one on the ground, boots on the ground. And we all saw how hard he was working. So everybody was happy to jump in, right? Like, I mean, he was the one kind of getting us all to the point where we made it happen. I think there's something to be said about having somebody like that running this show. And so I think we can say we're thankful for him.
100%. And I do think like it was night and day. Like I felt way more confident in the results this year because the judging was like just all around. Like, and it wasn't even, they didn't just drop the hammer on elites. They kept it very standard across through the age groups. And I think that's what everybody was really craving to see this year in our sport. And Dave was the one who made that happen. So I think the athletes are just so grateful for all you've done to elevate our sport and just, you know, make it a little more standard.
Amber, you're a little hot, as they say. Is it your headphones?
I can't believe you're complaining about her being a little hot. I'm sitting here in the dark. He's like, "Oh, Amber, you're a little hot."
You sound great, and what's people can deal. You can fix bad. You can fix bad video. You cannot fix bad sound. Like just people, it'll drive people crazy. Maybe the audience. Maybe it's just my headphones.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else, Dave? Before we let you go, because it's as the sun sets in Pensacola or wherever you are. You said you were.
Just south of Tampa. Yeah, I guess anything else? We're just getting started, man.
Ooh, love it. Just getting started.
Yeah.
All right,
it's
Dave,
a lot of room to grow, a lot of room to improve, a lot of ideas to make it better.
All right. Thanks for what you did, man. Talk soon.
Thanks, you guys.
Dave.
Have a great night.
See you. Bye.
Is this better? Can you hear me better now?
I could hear you fine. It's just it sounded like you're yelling even when you're not, and it just again, I hate to bother people with this stuff, but what about this though? Look at that. Now you're over here. Now you're over there.
You keep flipping me. It's kind of what I do on the bike.
I was fucking with the font we were talking. All right, listen, we have a lot to celebrate, but we are also going to get some of the bad stuff out of the way. And I wanted to obviously give Dave his time, but now I want to talk about some stuff that I was hearing mostly good things, and I'd get a couple of little notes here and there about issues. And Cheryl sent me one in particular that that I want to see. That it's a visual aid. So Cheryl, you have to show me this. And this is
okay.
this is very this is something we've seen before with this parent company. So why don't you go ahead and hold it up?
So, all right, this is my trophy from last year for, I don't know.
Let's make you the featured.
This is my first place women's, one of my first place women's from last year. So I had a few, and that was really wonderful.
I had a few, little humble brag.
Yeah,
sure,
no, I'm
Cheryl.
very fortunate. So anyway, so this is one of so this is one of them from last year, and I actually have had these. I have had the 3 that I got like displayed prominently, and people who come to dinner and stuff, they see them. It's just like a team effort for me and my husband that year. And so, we kind of decided to make it part of the family. And so I've been really proud of this. We got done with our fit and got to the podium ceremony, and they gave us our trophy, but he said we have to take it back because we actually haven't gotten the shipment yet, and you can get it tomorrow. And then the next day I was able to pick up, so I won my other race. And so I picked up my trophy there for that podium ceremony. And then they gave me my one from the day before. So I got my 2, but here's what it looks like this year.
I would tell people you won the Abu Dhabi World Championship.
Exactly. I could put anything I wanted on here, right? Like it's
say that there's Lindsay, and then you.
And that other really good. Yeah. So I just, the Spaniards were just so confused, right? They don't know. And they were walking around looking for anybody who looked official, saying, how do I get my name on this trophy? Like, how does this? In
what world does it exist that I'm handed an award with nothing on it?
I know. And I just, how like you'll have people come over, somebody's going to be a house guest at your house, and all of a sudden you realize how terrible your house looks and you feel really embarrassed, and you've been living there forever and it hasn't bothered you. And I felt like, oh no, the Spaniards found out, like, we got issues, and I felt really bad for them.
Let me just quickly interrupt and say that my wife, I'm sure, feels that way. I'm like, what's the problem? It's fine to me. I'm sure my wife feels that way though. Stacy 100% feels that way when people come over. I do not.
You can at least relate, right? And
Absolutely,
so, again,
absolutely.
really
I can
felt
relate
like
to her shame. I can relate to her shame.
we're so used to it, right? Like this shirt that I'm wearing was not in on Friday. I had to wait and get it on Saturday.
I mean,
right?
when did they know? I mean, when did they know they were having the World Championships though? Right?
Exactly.
When did they decide that? Last week?
Yeah, and so that's the thing. I don't know what happened, but it was, again, I mean, I know Dave's working on, let's make this great. And I think every year is going to be better. And there were a lot of great things about this year. There were a lot of things that I was like, oh no, this British woman who's just come all the way over here. And this, because you go to High Rocks Worlds and it's like your name is on this banner and they've got these shirts for you that already have your name on them. And they treat you like royalty. And I don't know. We just need to get there. We'll get there.
You go to a regular High Rocks now and they've got your name on it.
Yeah.
You used to have to go to a World Championship, World Stuff a Smutter. Now every fucking High Rocks, there's a flag up there. Pretty cool. Yeah. And I'm not, trust me, I'm not expecting that from DEKA, but yes, it would be nice to have t-shirts and medals.
We're ready, we're ready. Yeah.
Did they say we'll mail you the little piece?
That is what we have been informed. And because I know in the past, I get mailed things weeks and weeks later from Spartan. So
right. So with Spartan, they'll mail you that part on the bottom that says your name and or not your name, the age group, but yours doesn't even say DEKA on it. Like yours says, the other one says DEKA in the middle, right?
It's literally just a Spartan leftover.
Now show the other one. Show the other one again.
Yeah, it's the other one. Look, it's got DEKA World Championship.
Yeah, right. That piece. So that piece is not coming probably. Just the little piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's like I know this happens still with Spartan, that they still have these logistic issues at races. People would be like, they ran out of medals, the trifecta medals weren't there, like all this stuff that you're like, come on, Spartan. Once a year, I'll give it to you. Once a year, something got caught in what do you call it? What do you call when you ship stuff? What do you call that? Customs.
Like customs?
Yeah.
In transit.
But yeah, the DEKA World Championship, you should probably have that covered. Well, Cheryl, you didn't get a third gold medal though, did you, this year?
I didn't.
I'm gonna put you back in your place there, saying.
Yeah. No, I got spanked in strong. I got spanked. It was humiliating. So go figure. People are stronger than me, and I couldn't run, and I'm very proud of them. They worked hard at it, and I didn't.
So where did you where were you? Where did they lose you? When did you feel like, oh no, I have lost to the first place, like, or I lost first or second? Where were you?
The sled. I knew I was going to need to push the bike harder than I usually do. I had actually talked to one of my friends about doing that, and we thought, yeah, let's just push the bike just a few RPMs higher, just to try to get ahead. And if I hadn't done that, I would have really lost. But it just blew me up, and I was on the sled. And I was on like one of the edges where all my friends are like watching me just suffer and die. It was the saddest. It was so sad. I got to the burpees and I barely made it. I nearly just quit. I thought, what's the point, but I finished, and I finished fourth. Like, it's not the worst thing ever. And I literally finished the same time that if I ever run a strong where I haven't really trained for it, I always get about the same time. And that's what I got this time. And I had literally not trained for DEKA Strong this year. It is my own fault, and I accept responsibility.
But you know what? The dynamic was so different this year. Every race, you had to go hot, and it was literally a matter of like who could hang on. Like every race, it was go hot and hot. Like it was nuts.
Yeah, this year is showing the maturity of the sport. We're getting people who can't get away with all three wins, right? There are people who are specialists. There are people who are good at one thing and good at another. Nick Riker just blows in for one race and then heads out, right? Like he knows what he's good at. He knows his wheelhouse. That's what's happening now, and that's what should. I think I shouldn't be able to win all three, right?
Yeah, we had a guy who previously wasn't even on social media podium in the strong. He started an account today. Did you see that, Amber? Chris Van Hoff. Yeah, he did.
I love him.
It's funny because he followed my personal account, And I was like, oh, and so I sent him a message from HFM and he didn't respond yet. Maybe he doesn't know how to check them yet because he's just not been on
take you a
social.
while.
But yes, he created an account. Everybody
I'm
go
so
follow him.
excited for him. Here's what I loved about days 2 and 3 is I think DEKA Fit, you kind of know who's showing up for those elite races, right? We've seen them race over and over again. You start getting into DEKA Strong, DEKA Mile, especially the teams, and these people have qualified in, I don't know, some random gym in Minnesota, and we don't know who they are. And then they show up and they're, it's like my friends got 5th. They beat like big time people, right? In the mile teams. It's just really, really fun to not know what's going to happen.
I want to know what else, because
There's a lot of shakeups this year.
What I didn't go this year, obviously. I'd planned on it, and then I got to go to England, and so it was like I just can't. I'm done traveling for a while. What else did you notice this year versus last year? Like competition wise, it was better. Judging was better. Anything else like that you would say? I don't know, better or worse than last year?
No, I noticed in the fit. I mean, last year you could still optimize on your zone work a little bit and still get away with like a decent. You could still land podium by optimizing on zones in the fit. And this year you absolutely could not. It was a foot race. And I mean, for example, just because I know these splits, Connor Bell and Kevin Gregory had an 8:44 strong in their fit relay, and they didn't even hit podium. Like, it was madness out there. You had to, it was a foot race. And I think it was the Spanish came in and they made us run their race. And they shook it up, like 15-minute 5K and holding a strong, like, zone time to be podium this year. Whereas last year, you could still lean on your strengths in the zones and just kind of like suffer through the runs. Couldn't do that this year.
Well, I would say then if
go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say, well, I'm going. I was gonna say it's bad news for the Americans then if DEKA gets its act together in the UK, because you know how popular Hyrox is over there. So if they come over, like last year, I think we had one Brit and one like Australian, and this year there's clearly, if you looked at the age group, you looked at like Spanish came over, a few other Europeans came over. Tanya from Luxembourg, we love you, Tanya. So yeah, if they kind of get their shit together in England and they start putting on a bunch of these events, then they're gonna come.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Cheryl? Sorry about
that.
What
I was gonna say is I don't know if anybody in the comments knows of anybody who triple crowned this year, but I would be highly suspicious that anybody got away with that this year. It's just getting too specialized. Was that?
I know one for sure. Chrissy from Underdog actually did triple crown this year in her age group.
Yeah. Underdog, of course.
But that is going to be, like we said, very hard to do because you're going to see people definitely now start to spread. The miles on that in between, though, where you can still optimize your zones because the run is not that long enough that the strong runners are going to totally take it away like they did on the 500s. But like in the field, we're dropping 18-second bikes and it didn't even shake up the placement. It was madness because those guys were making up 20 seconds on the next run. Like, it was crazy out there.
That was the other thing I was going to say is that I felt like Kevin Gregory had a target on his back. Everybody was gunning for what he was doing, right? And so now, I mean, they just kind of.
Oh, hey, I found the comments.
Okay. Good. There we go.
Should I change this horrible font though?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, I figured it's funny because I used to use this when I used to do Spartan live streams like 3 years ago. So I remembered. I'm such a fucking boomer. All right.
I agree about that. I think teams got real popular this year. A lot of people were running teams instead of solo, and that was a lot of fun. And it was a very overwhelming weekend as far as that you could separate those world championships for sure.
Okay, Gene Ramirez, aka Gene the Machine. Last year's fantasy football champion. He is not repeating this year, by the way. If anybody on this call, well, besides Brendan is in fantasy football. Anyway, live stream was awesome. In my opinion, they should separate team championship from solo. I feel it was too much for one weekend. Maybe solo in the winter and then teams in the summer. Your thoughts, Cheryl Snow?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. It was a lot. There was a lot going on. it was a whirlwind of a weekend. Part of that's kind of fun though. I mean, just sort of having to manage your energy to be able to do multiple races is kind of a cool challenge in and of itself. And there really is kind of a party atmosphere there. I mean, you talk about the underdogs, they were right in the center of the whole venue. You know, Kevin Gregory's like the mayor of DEKA town. He's just walking around, you know, shaking hands, making everybody happy. Whoever's wearing the shirts.
Oh
you know,
my God, that's his new name.
right?
That's his
He
new
is.
name for sure.
For sure. But you know, you would almost miss out on that if you did separate the weekends, but I can see an argument for it if you wanted
Well,
to have.
well, the only thing I could think is last year it's solo in the morning and teams in the afternoons, but it didn't end any later, did it? Because we didn't add age groups. So it still ended at what, 6 o'clock or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what they did is they cut down to just one heat per age group. So they cut that out. Yeah.
Oh, right. Because the year before it was like 20 and it was 10 and 10 or whatever. Yeah, that's never going to happen. I mean, in a perfect world, I mean, with that, but yeah, I don't like Spartan.
What kind of trophies would end up, you know?
All right, I want to speak to this, by the way. I have to put this comment because somebody else messaged the DEKA truck to me. DEKA truck, the Tesla Cybertruck. I don't think that's Joe's. Joe doesn't own a Tesla. I don't know whose that was, but that's not what Joe drives.
It was weird.
It was there. And it had DEKA flags on it. It was just like this big mascot that was kind of like blocking the one entrance. I was like, you had to go around.
Here's my guess. Joe ran into somebody in Ocala that like loves DEKA and came up to him and said, I love DEKA, I'll be there. And he was like, is that your truck? Can we bring it up for the weekend? Like, we know Joe doesn't necessarily pay all his bills on time, but Joe's not driving a Lambo. Joe doesn't have, we're not going to find a what do you call it situation where like, oh, he had castles and 20 properties. That's not Joe. So just to be clear, not his Cybertruck.
Well, it was just kind of random, but it was just kind of like whatever. You just kind of walk by and carry on with your day. It didn't faze me any. I thought it was like, oh.
Well, listen, shout out Rivian. Last year there was a Rivian in the parking lot in the setup, and I did interviews sitting on the back of it, and I promised them shout outs. And here it is a year later, and I'm still shouting them out. So thanks, Rivian. Was there any vendors like different that we normally see there? Who do we see there?
First Form was there. First Form doing supplements.
I saw that. That's not normal. I saw they were on the leaderboard, weren't they?
Maybe.
I thought I saw that, and I thought because they're not a normal DEKA sponsor, right?
No, but you know what? And I have to say this because I've been laughing about it all weekend. Is they were handing out these meat sticks, and like the whole venue, I just felt like it smelled like people burping at meat sticks. They're like eating these things and racing. And I was like, this is great. Oh, I get a PTSD from protein meat sticks. But they were awesome. They were handing out tons of stuff, like pre-workout, post-workout, like meat sticks.
Who made the meat sticks?
I don't know. I didn't eat one. I had somebody come up to me though and was like, do you want to try my meat stick? And I was like, no.
I think last year people said, hey, the venue wasn't really near anything. What was it near this year? Was it near, like, did you guys go, like, where were people going to dinner? Was there nearby stuff or no?
I didn't have a problem. The venue this year was amazing. It was beautiful inside. It was awesome. It was way nicer.
I heard not easy to find though. Was that you that told me that, Cheryl?
It took, we got there the day before and I don't think I told you that, but you know, we always kind of get the lay of the land. Once you found it, it wasn't a problem, but it was, you know, it was kind of tucked in the back. It was just strange because it's on this just giant campus of all these horse riding venues and these young girls walking around in riding habits and these, you know, those nice little cute pants with the boots and, you know, just going around on these fancy horses and they're jumping them and stuff. And then here we are like with our backpacks and our sneakers, you know, It was kind of an odd combination, but I loved the venue. I really did. Once we got there, it was great.
What else do we want to talk about DEKA before we move on?
I wouldn't mind talking about the judging.
Okay. Are you saying, okay, is this where you say the bad part about the judging?
Here's what I will say is, for all of Dave's efforts, the judging still is never going to be perfect, right? And I don't know when we're all just going to kind of accept that not a single guy in the DEKA Strong Elite stood up full extension on their lunges. Not a single one, right? Because you're going so fast. You just don't. And I think it's okay that you don't, right?
Well, let's back up a little bit. Hang on, because there's a couple things. They added the line, and I thought that was the issue. Was you can't do this, so you have to. They made a line. Did that not help it?
That helped with the jumping, and so that's been into effect for the better part of this year. And I do think it helped with the jumping. I ended up judging a guy. It was DEKA Mile. I judged for him, and he started jumping, and I was able to see it really easily and just tell him to not jump. But as far as that full extension where you're standing all the way up, I don't think as athletes we know that we're doing that. I think we're just going so fast.
Zach disagrees.
Yes. I think it depends on, I think it depends on who you're talking to.
Oh, do you know Zach, by the way, Amber? Do you know Zach Tate?
I know him. Yeah, a little bit. Anyway.
Yeah. But I think even in the burpees, like I would judge the burpees, and people were extending as best they could, but because of shoulder mobility issues or whatever, I think we're going to get as good as we can get. And all I know is that when I was pulling in for my burpees in DEKA Mile, Dave came up next to me, and I was absolutely terrified. He was just terrifying all of us because we knew that he was going to hold us to a standard.
Right.
And I think personally, that's as good as we're going to get. There were a lot of people.
Maybe get 10 Daves, like 10 people who scare people.
See, but that's the thing. Yeah. It's like there's just a point where there were people filming other athletes, right? Just trying to, complain and all that kind of stuff. And I think we just need to accept. I felt like the standards were pretty high. I think everybody did their best. I don't think a lot of people were trying to cheat. They just may not have been aware of what they were actually doing. And I think that happens in a race this fast. It's not like, say, High Rocks, where you just have a wall ball target that you have to hit. It's more like High Rocks, where depth in a wall ball is oftentimes negotiable, right? People will call out things different because it's so fast and it's such a diverse thing. And so,
and CrossFit has the same problem, right? In competition, like we see a lot of what I call bad reps, and people are moving so fast, and it's why CrossFit has more of a problem, because their whole thing is like, look at us do all the stuff you're supposed to be able to do with your body, and here's the right way to do it. But then when you make it a competition and it's as fast as possible, you can't possibly lock out. You can if they changed the whole sport and just kept no repping you until you locked, right? And actually locked. But no, I don't know that I agree with you, but we're not there yet. There's still some room between where it is now and as good as it's going to get somewhere. Because, like, take wall balls, for example.
In the right direction, for sure.
Because take wall balls, for example, you still do have to get low enough, no matter how fast you're doing it. But certain movements, like those lunges I can't think there's an equivalent CrossFit movement, but something that's like, yeah, if you're doing it so fast, you just can't tell. When I say this all the time, when I see those ring muscle ups, I don't think any of them are fucking locking out. They're just doing it, right? None of them are stopping at the top. So, but yeah, a little bit more room to grow in that area.
Yeah, I just think everybody was trying really hard, and there were a lot of people who were like, "That's not right," and that's not, there was a lot of that going on, and I just, let's just accept that we're doing the best we can. I think Dave ran a tight ship.
I think part of it too is the level of competition has been elevated to a point in which you almost need a perfect race. So I don't think anyone is intentionally doing poor movement standards to try and get called out. I think everybody's just trying to execute as properly as they can, as fast as they can, because like we're talking milliseconds and seconds are differentiating first to eighth now. Like if you're
Right.
making top 10, you're a podium contender, and it was just a matter of who put together the best race on that day. And it's exciting, but because of that, like I don't think anyone's intentionally not locked out. I think if they think they are, and I think the job at implementing the movement standards as best as they could and allowing the competition to maintain its pace that it was going at, because it was exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you know, here versus here. I mean, there when you're going really fast, that's just a really hard. It's a really hard thing to do.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I was at the end of like standards happening down the line when there was like 4 people down here watching these teams that they snuck away. And I'm not going to complain. I was at the other end of it, but I think as a whole, like I think they did a great job at improving the sport this year.
Absolutely. No, I was terrified to have my judges call me out on stuff.
Question for you, Cheryl. We were on a call like this before. I can't remember who we were talking to, but we were like, you know, it's really hard to do a high rock shift and then race because you're on your feet so much and blah, blah, blah. You rabbited and volunteered and did your race. Did you feel like you were stretched too thin at any point? And by the way, thank you for doing those things. Thank you for volunteering. Thank you for rabbiting. But did you feel stretched thin?
I'm pretty tired. I mean, it really is.
Did you regret it at any point? Like during your race, you were like, shit, I'd have a little bit more.
Well, I regretted it when I was pushing the tank and the last of my strong. You know, it's like, what have I done to myself? I don't think it would have made a difference. I do think you can stretch yourself really thin, but if I'm there, I want to have the experience. I want to help. It's way more fun if you're willing to help, and so I'm willing to take it. You got to eat. Everybody's there just eating all day, right? They're just putting in the calories, just keeping themselves going. And it's kind of cool that way. It's kind of fun to learn how to do that.
Yeah. So thank you, by the way. And thank you, Amber. I've already told you, thank you a bunch, but thank you for getting me.
Amber was the perfect correspondent for you. I don't think that you needed to be there. I think she was.
What did I say to you, Amber? What did I message you today or yesterday?
You thanked me.
No, I said you're the greatest correspondent I've ever had.
I also got told I am the best looking Matthew Davis. And I was like, I'll take it. Bring it on, everyone.
No, because Matt, she's so cute that she was able to get like those good photos at the end, at the finish line and stuff like that. Like people just said yes to her to everything. So it was perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, thanks, man. I love nothing I love more than a good finish line photo. It's my it's I don't know why. It's just my favorite thing. So I love getting a good one and I hate getting bad ones. So and people know how to send a bad one. So all right, well listen, I want to talk about some other stuff. So if people have questions more about DEKA, you can throw them in the chat. But while you guys were doing your crazy thing, one Tia Claire Toomey did her first ever High Rocks, and it was I think the best thing that could have happened. A, she shows up. B, she doesn't win. That's the best thing that could have happened for us because it shows the world just how hard this stuff is. Now, it was a doubles, not a solo. But the fact that she did not win her wave, she's 7-time champion. Newberry is a games team champion. It was his 8th or 9th High Rocks. So that, and I didn't even know the teams. Like I know Joanna's team, but like the 2 teams that beat her, I hadn't even heard of. So High Rocks is getting really good. But did you peek at any of the Tia stuff?
Between rabbiting and judging and racing, I would say we haven't been necessarily on the. I saw that she did well. Like, what did they get? Like a 55 or something?
Yes, 55, 40 something.
Yeah,
That's a great time.
Yeah, I think the best thing that can happen to us is these guys show up and show that they're good at it, but not the best, right? I mean, I think that was Dylan Scott's whole reason for winning in Dallas. He just wanted to show that Nick Bear can't win, right? So I love that.
Yeah, and I don't know what her schedule is, but I know that they train out of Tennessee, which is not far from me. So I'm trying my darndest to get an in-person interview. I will drive up there because I know she was on Greg's show already, but I really want to talk to her. And hopefully the rumors are she's going to do individual. And if she does one, I'm guessing she's going to do more than one. You know what I mean? I don't think she's just going to show up and plenty of CrossFitters that said this is just fun, but I don't think that's what she's doing.
No. I think she's like obviously a very strong CrossFit athlete, but I do think she's a decent runner for the lack of endurance that's required in their sport in comparison.
Well, she's got an endurance background, correct?
So I don't know.
I'm just going to bring up her splits here.
I think she does. I think she was like cross country or something. Like she was an endurance athlete, I think. So
that makes sense why she's a pretty strong runner for a CrossFitter then.
Well, I mean, so then she's got, that's the perfect combination, right? I mean, she's got the engine and I think, that's going to be really interesting to see what she can pull off. It'll be interesting to see how far she wants to go in it, right? Because she'd be somebody who could just, decide to go all in.
She was a 400-meter hurdler when she was younger, and then she's also competed in weightlifting.
Okay, that could work.
I didn't realize it was so recent. She was in the 2016 games because she was a runner-up at CrossFit in 15 and 16, and then she's won 17 through 22 and 24. But I thought she was a weightlifter when she was younger. But no, she won the gold medal in the women's 58 kg, 128-pound weightlifting at the 2018 Commonwealth Games. And then she was 2016 Summer Games. She came in 14th. So, wow, that was more recent than I thought. But yeah, I can't wait to see her more. And then I was pulling up some other High Rock stuff from the weekend.
I think we were all just kind of like DEKA, so we didn't see much. So tell us what happened.
So I can tell you what else happened.
Yeah, I walked down to that venue Sunday evening, and it just felt like I was leaving my home. Like we had been there for so long, and you just get so used to it. And then, the rest of the world is going on. It felt like there were a lot of races this weekend. I know that, but I didn't. Other than Tia, I didn't know if there was anything of note that we need to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you guys can learn how to share the screen with me as I mess with this new thing. So Christmas came early for Bo Wills and John Wynn after their incredible performances in Frankfurt this past weekend. Secured them both in the top 15 ranking for the next High Rocks Major in Las Vegas. Bo and John battled it out on the course in Frankfurt, with Bo ultimately coming out on top, finishing in first with 56.32. This was the New Zealander's second fastest time in the past 12 months, and therefore increasing his placing in the major from 22nd to 11th. Meanwhile, John Wynn from Australia also performed his second fastest time, coming in second with a finishing time of 56.52. This means John jumped from 17th to 14th with an average time of 57.02. So some Elite 15 shuffling. Let's pull up the Elite 15.
Who did they push out? Do we know who?
That's what I wanted to find out.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
High Rocks. Let's go. Hang on.
I'm curious. Okay, that Jen or Jennifer, she's come out and won her 2 races.
Jennifer Thompson.
Is she getting close to Elite 15 yet?
Let me see if I can find her.
Are you guys? Can you guys see this?
Jen Thompson is 21st right now, so there's a chance she could get a roll down if somebody doesn't go to Vegas. If enough
Jen
people
Thompson
don't
is 22nd for Vegas, which is next, and this has the last 2 races, 103.54 and 104.43. I don't know. I have no idea who's going to these races. We just don't. It's just too early to tell about who says they're going and who's not.
Yeah, we've got a couple more weeks probably before we hear.
But on the men's side, yeah, this is not up to date because Jonathan is still in 16th on here. So it looks like he bumped. Hang on, I can tell you by looking at this, but that post again, because they put the times. They being Hybrid Sport Media, our friends down under. Oh, look what just popped up when I shared the screen. Look at this. Hang on. Oh boy. Sorry, guys. Too many windows open. What did I just say those times were?
I can't.
Oh, that was way too long ago. You expect me to remember that?
56:45. So that means no, he's already there. 50, they've already fixed it for Bo. Where's what's his name then?
Jonathan Wynn?
Jonathan
He's-
Wynn is it 60? So
I
let's
see
read
him.
Jonathan. Jonathan Wynn puts him at 57:02, which bumps. Yeah, he's at 16th. They fucked up. Sorry, Hybrid Sport Media, you messed up. If this is up, this has Jonathan in 16th, Bo in 13th, and he would have bumped. It looks like Thomas DeVerdick, who also has 57:02. Ooh, what are they doing in a tie? Have they said that yet?
So I'm looking on the High Rocks website, and
Yeah.
I'm seeing John Wynn in 15th now.
Okay, go to Las Vegas, not Glasgow.
Go to Las Vegas. Oh, there we go. Okay.
So he's 16th. So they were looking at Glasgow, it looks like. Yeah, they were looking at Glasgow.
Okay.
Incorrect. Because Vegas is next. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they did not. So maybe this post says, yeah, they screwed up. Sorry, Hybrid Sport Media. We gotta when you wake up, when you hear this and you wake up, fix this. Because right now it's, hey Siri, what time is it in Australia? Oh, it's 10:33 a.m. They can fix it now.
Yeah.
I like this new fancy layout. What do you think? Yeah, Brendan, it's not correct. Hey, Brendan, did we update the numbers? I wanted to compare the attendance from last year's DEKA Worlds to this year's DEKA Worlds. Did you update it yet? Get him to look at that while we're talking about it. Yeah, so they forgot to click it, which, by the way, I made that mistake as well when I did a post a few weeks ago because it has Glasgow first. It had Hong Kong,
I don't
Glasgow.
know why they do that. Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys didn't watch any High Rock stuff, I don't know what else you wanted to talk about. I was sad you guys didn't look at your phone over the weekend when you weren't racing and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty all encompassing. Yeah.
No, I
So,
lost
all
my
right.
phone at one point, and I felt so bad. And I texted Matt. I was like, I don't have any photos from today because I legit lost my phone, and it ended up in like a friend's bag, and it was just a whole
You
thing.
found it eventually? You found it eventually?
But I felt terrible because I was like, yeah, I'll get photos, I'll get videos, I got this.
Yeah.
So we managed.
It happens. Nobody knows.
Well, when you're like constantly pulling things between races, right, and you're sharing things, and you're tossing, and then you're running to go cheer your team on, and then you're at the warm-up zone, and then you're racing. Like you said, it's just chaos in the best way. It's like organized chaos for like.
It is. It's organized chaos. I think it's different than like High Rocks Worlds. Usually you have like one race, right? You're just kind of there for one thing. And DEKA, it's all over the place. You've got 3 or 4 things going on at a time. It makes it a lot different experience for sure. So what are the numbers, Matt? Did you find them?
Well, he just said, no, it's not updated.
I know that a lot of people who are usually there in my age group didn't come because I think location is tough. Like being in Florida was in Ocala was kind of tough. But also it's getting so close to Christmas. A lot of people said
Wasn't it later last year? I feel like it was later last year.
It wasn't. It was a weekend earlier. Yep. And then the year before that, it was the weekend before Thanksgiving. Like it just keeps getting bumped back. And you know, I still don't have my tree up. Like it's just been too much, right? So it's getting they can't make it any later.
I actually, for us from Canada, like Florida was much easier and more affordable to get to actually than Texas last year. So we had a bigger, like I had a much bigger last year. So I think it's all kind of relative.
What are the 2025 rumors?
I didn't hear anything.
I didn't either. I know that somebody got a T-shirt. They were giving out T-shirts there just for free, DEKA Mile T-shirts or whatever, just kind of getting rid of this year's stash. And somebody got one that had all the DEKA Fit locations on the back, and that the last location that it had was World Championships in Long Beach, California. And apparently that blew up at the last minute, and we ended up in Ocala.
Yeah, well, Joe lives in Central Florida now, and so that's why World's Toughest was there, and I think that's how they found this location. And they already announced, like, they're already going back there again, so maybe that'll become the thing. Real quick, so Brendan, go look at the sheet, because oh, you did change it. There we go. It was wrong before. All right, so it looks like less, if this is correct. Last year there were, if we include all finishers, it was 1281. And obviously a lot of those are the same people, but it's the same with High Rocks. We can't count names of doubles. Everybody gets counted. So it looks like less if this is correct, but Brendan is saying it's not correct. We'll figure it out. It looks,
awesome.
I'm guessing it was the same. I'm guessing it was about the, did it seem bigger or did it seem about the same, participants wise?
The venue was bigger. Yeah, the venue was bigger, and so it was hard to guess, about that, but it felt crowded the whole time. I mean, it was absolutely packed. Yeah.
The strong results aren't up there. That can't be right. There's no strong results.
No, that you can, if you go to like the race results thing, it's all in there. It's all there.
Don't go to Spartan. Go to race results.
Yeah, but the energy was amazing. Like when the elites were going off, like you couldn't even get, at one point I had to go all the way down to almost the bike to even see what was happening at the lunges. Like it was just lined on either side. Like the energy was amazing. And even for the age group racers too. Like it was awesome. It was great.
Not at 10 a.m. Brendan, they're there immediately. People have to know how they did. I'm telling you, they're there immediately. Brendan, go to race result, not Spartan. Spartan site, it takes longer. You got to go to the actual race result site where they go directly, where they're happening on site as they happen. So they're definitely there.
Can I post it? Is there a chat?
No, he could find it. He's a bright guy. Just reminding him. That's all. Sorry, we're having our internal discussions online, but hey, there's only so much time in the day. I think something Cheryl and I were talking about offline is that obviously it doesn't have High Rocks' popularity, but it feels like the people that are in are all in, right? Mm-hmm. Amber, your group is pretty huge. Bubbles' group is pretty huge. The Spaniards are all in. So it feels like they may never get to that level, but the people that are in are really in. Would that be a better way to say it?
I also think that this is so much more accessible that it's going to have I know there's a lot of people feeding into High Rocks. There's that whole gym culture that's feeding into High Rocks. This is people discovering fitness. Like there's a lot of people who have never kind of done this kind of stuff before. And then all of a sudden they find themselves good enough to qualify for world championships after working just a few years on it. I think that's really exciting. And I think, there's a whole crowd of those folks that are just so happy to be there and having such a good time. So I just think it's a different crowd. And I think this year it really felt like the sport is just vastly different. Like DEKA is very, very different from High Rocks. Both are necessary in their own circles, but I do think that DEKA is going to have a life of its own going forward. You're not going to see a lot of High Rocks athletes. I mean, Lauren Weeks, she just comes and wins everything. Bless her heart. My husband had to rabbit for her, and it destroyed him for the weekend, just trying to run after her. I mean, his poor hamstrings. It's just, so you're going to see a few people like that. Dylan, of course, they'll come into a DEKA Fit, but they didn't stay for Mile and Strong, right? We're seeing completely different athletes. Grayson Kilgore is just ruling that space right now. He's one of the few, I think, that can go back and forth, but most aren't, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. You're going to really see people specialize, and you'll see people do, well in one and maybe really excel in another, but have a few anomalies like Lauren Weeks, But for the most part, I think you're right, Cheryl. I think people are going to really start to specialize and then just kind of enjoy the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and it just feels so small town when you've got these guys. I mean, who are those two guys that got second in? Was it Strong that were just show? I didn't know who they were. Do we know who they are? What were their names?
In Strong?
Christopher? No. It wasn't. It was
Chris
Jeff
Bonhoff.
Hendrick and Carl Wise. Do we know them?
Oh, well, I've never met them, but I've seen them on the leaderboard.
Right. They just show
and
up.
they've put up some good time.
Yeah,
and you know what? Cole Walkington and is it his brother or his dad? Like, man, they showed up and showed out too. They hit the podium a few times and really shook up the race.
Brothers. It made me think of that movie Signs, when Mel Gibson doesn't think that aliens are doing the crop circles, but he thinks those brothers are doing it. It's the Walkington brothers who are messing up his land. I just kept thinking about that all weekend. It's like, who are these guys, right?
I thought it was a father and son.
There was Cole and Al, and then there was Cole and I can't remember the other guy's name. I didn't write it down.
There was another one, but Cole was fast.
And I love how kind of it just feels so American that these guys can just show up and win. And you don't see that in High Rocks. We see everybody coming in High Rocks. Except then you get, Jen Thompson that just shows up or, something like that. But it is seeming to happen a lot in DEKA that makes it a really, really fun thing. And I don't think we're going to see that in High Rocks as much. I think these small town gyms are going to churn out people that are, I judged Parker and Dakota's, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, I judged Parker and Dakota's qualifying time, and I thought, oh, good for you. You made, the Elite 15, but I had no idea that they were going to come in 5th. Like, that's so exciting for them, right? So, the Walkington brothers, you got to interview them, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
definitely.
By the way, Signs, great movie.
Yeah,
go see Signs. Could have been M. Night's last good one, to be honest.
Yeah.
So looks like we've got. Father is John, uncle is Al.
Uncle. Wow.
Zach, are you in the room? Where is Zach right now?
Well, they went. I think they went mini putting and left me up here hanging out with you. Still in
They went what?
we're in Orlando. They went mini putting. We're in Orlando still. We're going to Universal tomorrow.
They're doing miniature golf, Matt.
Are you trying to say putt-putt?
Yeah.
Oh, but you don't call it mini putt?
It's either putt-putt. It's either putt-putt or mini golf.
Mm-hmm.
The brand name was actually putt-putt. It's like Coke. Like you would go to putt-putt. And when you were a young person and your parents dropped you off, okay, Cheryl, we're ready to make the kids feel like they're really young and we're really old.
Let's go.
Your parents would drop you off. There was an arcade. Do you know what an arcade is, Amber?
This is like in Karate Kid. Karate Kid
like Pac-Man and all that fun stuff. Pac-Man's there.
So you gave them your, what was it, Cheryl? $6 probably, and you do the course. And then the last hole, right? The ball goes in and it goes down a tube, and your game is over. Unless what, Cheryl?
Oh, what happened? If you got it in a special thing, didn't you get? Oh, Matt, I don't see.
No, I was just gonna say. You put your hand there, and then you can go play another round. Like that's the move.
That's right, because you're a bad person. I never did that. So yeah, no.
Cheryl, you're like my wife. My wife's a big rule follower. I am not a big rule follower. But I don't know if you even heard yourself. That came off your tongue so fast. I'm a bad person.
I'm just giving you a hard time
because I cheated the mini golf out of another $6 because I wasn't ready to get my parents to come pick me up. And guess what? Guess when you found out when your parents are picking you up? You go to the fucking payphone and no one answered. When are they coming? I don't know. My kids today, every 5 seconds, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? My phone rings. Dad, are you here yet? Are you on the way?
And you're just waiting out in the dark. And they eventually show up.
Right?
Yeah. No, if I'd been on a date with you, I would have just been like, oh, I don't know. This guy seems like he has a bad character for like doing that. But no, you're right. It is the way to go, and nobody cares. So yeah.
What's that?
Mini golf was stressful, so I didn't play it much. So clearly you did more than I did.
Well, I just remember, I'm sure I could Google it and find out where it was. But yeah, so you guys call it, what do you call it, Amber, again?
Mini putt.
Mini putt, no.
A hybrid of putt.
I'm going to find, hang on, I'm going to find a putt ad from the 80s on YouTube, and we're going to watch it together. Hang on.
No, it's like
All
the
of
karate
mini golf makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a great great scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, oh, this is amazing. Hang on, this is going to be awesome. I hope you guys can hear it, though. Sometimes you can't hear it. Share audio, yes.
Putter's gonna put it in a puddle up. But a putter is a much better putter, cause putt makes it fun. So putt for the fun of it, putt for the fun of it. So bring a date and your brother or your mate and your mother and putt a hole in one. Putt makes it fun. So putt for the fun of it, putt for the fun of it, putt for the fun of it, putt for the fun of it.
Now, if you asked me what that was from, I would have been like, well, that's 1973, clearly. No, that's 1986.
Whoa.
I was 14 years old in 1986. So that's the perfect age. That's the time that Cheryl was like, I'm not going to say how old Cheryl was, but I was
could have been your babysitter, Matt.
No, you could not have been my babysitter.
Almost.
How old were you in 1986, Cheryl?
I was 19.
Doesn't that? Yeah, you could.
Yeah,
I guess you could. So doesn't that video look like it's 1973? But that was actually the time that you and I were teenagers playing at the video parlor.
Low quality, so low quality. Yeah, no, things have changed a lot. Things have changed a lot.
Hang on, I gotta find Karate Kid putt. Hang on.
Yeah, when they go out on the date.
That was a thing.
Oh, you missed out on the 80s. They were amazing.
Yeah, the name of the place. The name of the place was Golf and Stuff, right?
Oh.
Perfect name.
Mm-hmm.
The Golf and Stuff Arcade. Hang on.
Makes sense if you got golf and other stuff.
Well, there's video games.
Yeah. It was kind of the standard date. Like guys just didn't know what else to do. So they'd just be like, do you want to go on a date to this place? And you'd have to go play games.
Sounds like more fun than what they do now.
First, I wanted to, ask about the different roles that Willis goes through.
That's not right. What the fuck was that? All right, well, you can't really tell.
I can tell by her outfit that this is the one. No.
Well, now we're into the TV show. My kids do like the TV show. The Cobra Kai. Anyway, God, we're old, Cheryl. My God, that commercial made me feel so old.
No, here's what I said to everybody on the start line this week is welcome to being just inspirational just for being here, right? Like inspirational. It's what we are. People see us and they think, oh, we're not going to be dead when we're 50, so it's going to be great. So
well, Cheryl, but I have another 8 years though, because right now I'm just look at that old guy who probably used to be fit. I got to get 60, and then it's like, what an inspiration.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
Cheryl.
What?
I know what I wanted to ask you. They're going to create a rec division for 45 and older next year for DEKA.
Is it going to be like lighter weight?
I thought that was already a new.
I know, but I want to ask Cheryl if she's going to do it.
Oh, sure. I'll try anything once. I mean, so what they're doing is they're kind of creating different age groups. They're sort of just separating into two, like young age group, old age group, like they do in relays. Right?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's go. Is it going to be this? They're going to have us run the same weight, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think it's just.
Hang on a second. I'll be right back. You guys do that. I'm going to do the thing Jack hates. I'm going to be right back. You guys talk about yourself. Jabari was 2 in 1986, by the way.
Oh, this is just.
Fuck you, terrible. Jabari.
I got married in 1987, so we won't even talk about how sad this is. It's so sad. But look, I think that I go back and forth because I think, look, if they don't have age group in ruck, they need to have age group in ruck, right? I didn't realize they didn't.
No, it's just ruck. So there's like DEKA strong ruck. I think until it grows, then they'll start to separate. off into age groups, elite, all that. It was just rock.
Yeah, I think it's always good to have age groups, obviously, and I can see where they're waiting for it to get a little more fleshed out and so forth. I do tend to take issue with sometimes them lightening the weights for us. I don't necessarily think that is a good call.
What do you think the right age should be? What do you think, 70?
I don't think there should be an age. I think that it should be a division that you choose. Sort of like how you choose
like RX, like RX versus.
Right. I think
that's actually really good, because there is a thing called, muscle. I know you can put on muscle at any age supposedly, but there is a thing called, what is it called?
I don't. Now you're asking me to. I just got off a flight. I'm jet lagged, but yes.
Just the fact that as you get older, things change and your body deteriorates a little bit. So I love it. I love it. That's the move. You only have the weights if you choose those weights, because maybe I love
know how you lose muscle is by not lifting as heavy. You need to keep lifting heavy, and so keep the heavy stuff. And I just think it should be a division. I think just like in High Rocks, you can do open or pro. If you're 60 plus, you choose open or pro. I don't know what the problem is. I really don't.
Open's not light enough in High Rocks, if you ask me.
Well, we could talk about that later, but so I like the fact that they'll be starting to do that, but I would like to hope to think that they would trust us to be able to lift the weight that we can. Atrophy. Thank you, Brendan. Yes.
Brendan, you gave us you gave us the numbers, but Brendan, give me a stat with all 3 years, 22, 3, and 4, and then I'll flash that on the screen. But go ahead.
Okay. So
anyway. Osteoporosis. What about that, Cheryl? Do you have that? Do you have osteoporosis?
No, but I do have people that I work with at my gym who have osteoporosis, and the prescription is lift weights, right? I mean, don't be a frail little, chicken bird. You got to lift weights. So I'm a big fan of that. And I think that we should be able to choose. And I think DEKA from this year to next year is only going to be just that much bigger, right? And it's going to do and so we're going to be able to start seeing, and they may need to have a 4-day world championship just to accommodate all of the different divisions and that sort of thing. Who knows? But I think it's going to be a good thing as it goes forward. Mm-hmm. It's a great way for people to find health and fitness for sure.
Speaking of Vegas, how many weeks out are we, Cheryl?
We're about 6 weeks out. So this is kind of, from what I understand, this is kind of the off season for High Rocks and everything. I don't know what you're going to talk about on live show coming up, because I don't think there are any races for the next little while. And Vegas is going to be the next big one. So everybody's got to start getting ready.
We're going to put together a training program.
Vegas is February, right?
February 1st. Yeah. So
all right. So here's the world championship numbers, thanks to Brendan King, our amazing statistician. 2022 New Jersey, a mere 460 people. 2023 Texas last year, 1281. This year, 1170. So about the same as last year.
Yeah,
slightly less.
There were a lot of roll downs in my division, I know. So a lot of people weren't able to come. But I think it has to do with timing. I think in my age division, like, you're busy putting on Christmas
I'm trying to get my Christmas cookies together. I don't think I can be there this year.
Exactly. I had somebody in my age
group remembers.
She was like stitching her little coasters for the family, as she was heading down in her car. So yeah.
Amber, are you doing High Rocks doubles anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm actually doing DC and Miami.
Oh.
So I'll be shifting gears in my training a little bit for the front half of the year.
Are you doing?
And then kind of.
Are you doing women's or co-eds? Who's your partner?
Karen in DC. We're going to do women's, and then AJ in Miami. So we're going to try and redeem our co-ed. We missed the qualifying.
Why do you make poor Zach race with other people? What about Zach? I keep seeing Zach with other people. Why are you doing that to him?
I asked Zach to race with me. Zach doesn't want to race with me.
Okay. All right. I gotta speak to
you. Can ask that. But no, I love racing with Karen and I love racing with AJ, and we make killer teams. So excited to run back.
So today, High Rocks sent an email that said we're 75% sold out. Now, High Rocks, unlike Spartan, really do sell out events. They don't just lie and try to do fun stuff like that. But I don't know that I buy that one. Go to Atlanta right now. You can get into every single category still. So that doesn't sound. Now, could they be 75% out in every single category? Probably, but typically stuff starts to sell out. So I think that might have been a little fugazi. Again, like it's not like Spartan who like just like, hey, we're only going to give you this 80% discount for one more day, and then they do it again and they keep doing it. I don't know if they're sold out. Atlanta is still all the categories. I just checked today, so go buy tickets to Atlanta where I live. Sadly, Miami's the week before, so I think some people are going to skip Atlanta. I will not be skipping Atlanta. So, all right, guys, I think we can wrap it up. Thanks for hopping on. Amber Tate, people can find you at Pure Canada Athletics. What are you called?
Pure Impact Athletics or just Amber Tate on Instagram.
And Cheryl, you're at Vegas
Cheryl,
Finest.
No,
Vegas
Cheryl,
Finest Putt Putt.
there you go. No cheating allowed.
Because I'm a horrible person. I'm not going to forget that you said that.
I said you're a bad person. I didn't say you're a horrible person.
He's a rule breaker.
He's a rule. Yeah, no, and I'm a total like. That's why I was a great DEKA judge this weekend. I want people to keep the rules. So.